Hay season's finally done, and we're tucking the equipment away for the year. So now that things are settling down, we get to head to New York to visit my family. While we're there, we're going to take you on a tour of my sister's farm, which is a neat parallel to what we do here. I mean, how different can a small home farm be when you've got half a dozen dexters that are meant to be milked? But in all our similarities, I think it's especially interesting to look at the differences and illustrate the range and variety of what you've got available in the homestead experience, even if the setups are quite similar. The children did great with a flight out, and we arrived to fall just ramping up. One of the things I miss so much about my home is all the beautiful barns. There are small and large dairies in full swing, and the last of the corn silage harvest was on. But in the midst of all the working dairies, the land is dotted with retired barns full of character. Every drive is filled with endless rolling hills blanketed in a great variety of foliage and speckled with these monolithic tributes to generations of hard work. My sister runs Wensleydale Cottage Farm, and when I say she runs it, she does it all. Now, of course, she's got the help of her 3 boys, and it's fun to watch them get involved. So we're going to go join my sister in her kitchen to make some fresh cheese and talk about farming. You'll notice some obvious striking similarities. A handful of Dexter milk and meat cows, a single Jersey, okay, well now she has 2, a house from the turn of the century, last century that is. Both also drive underpowered red tractors to get our work done. We both got started with Dexters, we both do gardens, and we both have a chicken obsession. My sister refers to this chicken thing as the gateway drug of farm animals. We're both raising kids in this farm life, and they're of similar ages. We both bought property with some great facilities on it. In our case, a large hay barn and a coop and outbuildings. In her case, a sugar shack, loafing sheds, and a mid-size equipment barn. But there are a lot of differences too. First of all, the reasons for doing this. My sister's really into a purity of food, and when she started, it was about providing reliable organic food for their family while her husband was in school. For us, it's because we had a cool barn and we wanted to bring it back to life. And it's only developed more and more because we love the lifestyle and the jobs, and we take pride in the work we do. You'll notice she's a little more present-day oriented while we're enjoying living in the past. There's a much greater variety in her land. She's got some beautiful woodlands, a small pond, some nice pastures, and there's also a much greater variety to her stock. She does the maple syrup. She's raised and sold turkeys, and she usually raises a set of pigs every year. And got a pretty serious thing going on with tons of chickens and an egg business.
Eggs is our thing. Nobody else sells eggs. We sell out of eggs like within half an hour of the market.
And how many chickens do you have?
So many. I don't even know.
Are you,
It legitimately is the boys' thing. Like, they do it all. They count them. They feed them. They wash the eggs. I don't know how many birds we have. I just always ask them at the night, were all 6 of my baby turkeys there? Was my mother turkey there?
As part of that, she's way more resourceful than we are. She reaches out to the local farmers groups and they take care of her. She's a lot more involved in her community than we are, and is very supportive of promoting local farms and food sales. She reaches out to find great deals on leftover mill products so she can feed her pigs and chickens cheaply. Whereas we go the opposite way, withdrawing into our own place and trying to only do those things that we can support as self-sufficiently as possible. We want to make our own hay for our own cows, and everything I produce I'd like to have come from this land. We really try to maximize for automation and a hands-off approach while still doing this as cheaply as possible. So we've got automatic waterers and heaters, an automated milker. She's a little more hands-on, willing to fill water troughs 1 bucket at a time and breaking the ice in the winter. And she's a lot more brave than I am when it comes to things like processing chickens. And one more thought on what's possible. Before this place, my sister had just a small house on 5 acres with no facilities at all. She put up fencing in a small barn and coop and started out with 2 dexters and did pigs and ducks on that place. Sure, it was a lot of work, but my point is you don't have to have a farm to get farming. So on to the tour.
Why are all those lines down there for?
Oh,
What do you get from trees that have leaves like the one that you have? Do you know? Something that you put on pancakes.
Syrup.
Yeah.
That's
We
where you
collect
get
the
the
syrup
from.
in the
Syrup
winter.
just comes out of those trees and down the pipe.
We have 20 acres.
22, yeah.
How many are in pasture?
5.
So I think the syrup thing is super cool, and it's actually February when I'm finally editing this and getting it all together, which means that syrup is starting to flow. So I asked Bryn to get a couple more video clips of what it's like, and we're gonna go ahead and stick these in. You'll notice there's a little more snow on the ground right now.
There are about 800 taps this year, and we're looking to get 1,200 in by the end of next year. We run anywhere from between 2 to 5 on a small line that then comes into a big line, and they all connect to a main line that runs down the hill. Pipes come down the hill into this, which is a releaser tank, so that only one of the two is filling up at a time, and then it switches over at the top, which maintains the vacuum. This is the overflow tank so the vacuum doesn't get full of sap, and this is the vacuum pump that vacuums it out of the trees.
How many gallons of sap go to a gallon of syrup?
60 to 80.
Evaporator is wood fired. Cool. First of all, she's got dexters, and she loves them, no doubt. In fact, she just sold this Jersey, and in a heartbreaking incident, she lost Wobbles, the baby. Her dexters are probably more of what we would have preferred. They're definitely from milk lines. They have some interesting narrower faces and longer snouts, a longer, skinnier body, and a little bit of a bonier presentation. It'll be interesting to compare our meat yields. And while she hasn't measured precisely, it appears that she gets more milk out of her dexters than we get out of ours. For officially,
Yeah.
you would do dexters again, dexters all the way.
I just think it depends, like, it's like dog breeds, right? It depends on what you're looking for. I think dexters are good dual purpose. I think what I've found with the jerseys is I love her as a jersey, but she's a bad jersey, right? Like,
Oh, is she really?
in terms of breed, she's small, she doesn't give a lot of milk, her pelvis is smaller, and so either have to deal with the big animals that are bred that way, and that's a good Jersey or a good Holstein, but then they're not a great family cow in terms of maintaining. So I think it just depends on what the purpose is, right? Like, you've never, well, I say never, I know three people who run dexters dairies, but for the most part, you wouldn't run a dairy with dexters. They pay for themselves because the calves sell for more, because your steers beef out so well compared to dairy steers.
We're still going to withhold judgment on this Dexter versus Jersey thing, as we have our own comparison running. You can check out our pilot video on that here, and subscribe to watch as our experiment unfolds. What's your most cost-effective animal that you have?
Oh, the
Because
ducks.
you've done pigs, you've done ducks, you've done turkeys,
I'd
you've
say it's the
done
ducks.
chickens.
The ducks,
Selling as duck meat?
meat and eggs. You can sell the ducks for like $40 a piece. So you can sell them for meat really well. They lay eggs as frequently as the chickens. They practically feed themselves. They eat like half what the chickens do.
Like them more as keeping them? Do you like them?
They're so messy.
Okay, so what's your favorite animal to keep then?
I don't know, the ducks are pretty low maintenance too, but they're very messy and cute.
My favorite are her turkeys, especially this one, who's such a snuggly thing that she's escaped several Thanksgiving dinners. And they fetch a good price, too. I guess we raise turkeys, too, just not on purpose.
I really like doing pigs. You guys should do pigs.
So I really want to do pigs, except I don't want to deal with pigs.
Yeah, but 6 months is not a long time, and then you get so much, like, literally years of food that pays for itself because it's easy to sell pigs. You know, you do one and you keep one or whatever. The only way that we've been able to sell it is like
As
quarter
meat,
pig.
not
Yeah. I mean,
as a live pig.
people ask us for live pigs, but they give us way too little money.
This trip is about family, too, and David had a blast running through the leaves with his cousins. I used to bristle when I heard the term homestead because it brought to mind the off-grid, end-of-world prepper type stuff. But we found that you can really make whatever you want out of a farming life. Whatever level of time you're willing to put in, whatever crops you want, it's up to you.
Your location and land may drive some of your decisions. It's hard to produce certain crops in some climates without special equipment.
And the local market impacts what you can sell in some regions too. Bryn can pull prices for turkeys and ducks that we certainly can't out here, and she has access to this whole group of farm stores that are really neat that we don't have here.
We've each found and built our niches that bring our own family's fulfillment. It's a great way to raise kids, and I'm happy my children have this time on the farm.
Hi, I'm Simon.
And I'm Heather, and we call this Cozy Cow Farm.
We're not really farmers.
But I'm a farmer.
We just bought the farmhouse with the land,
Got some chickens.
then we added some cows. And we're still trying to figure out what we're doing. So subscribe to join us on our journey of trying to learn this.
Or comment and let us know what you'd like to see.